In 1995, this single coin wasn't just loose change rattling in your pocket. It was a passport to an entire day of real life. A single pound could buy you a mountain of corner shop snacks, a hot dinner from the local chip shop, or enough fuel to actually drive your car to work. Today, this exact same coin won't even buy you a single bottle of water at a train station. So how did a single coin feed a family, fill a tank, and buy absolute happiness for millions of Brits just a few decades ago? To make a pound stretch into a genuine family meal, you bypassed the big supermarkets entirely. Instead, you walked straight into your local high street butcher, where the floor was covered in sawdust and the prices were written in chalk. In the mid-90s, a full pound of minced beef was around £1.49, so your single coin couldn't buy the whole thing. But butchers didn't work in rigid, pre-packaged plastic trays back then. You bought exactly what you had the coins for. You would hand over 60 pence, and the butcher would scoop a half pound of fresh minced beef onto the scales, wrapping it tight in greaseproof paper. With your remaining 40 pence, you walked next door to the greengrocer. You weren't buying fancy, imported items. You bought loose, earthy staples. 15 pence bought you a massive brown onion. Another 15 pence got you 2 large carrots. And the final 10 pence bought a couple of dusty baking potatoes. When you got home, you made a classic heavy British minced beef and potato hash. You browned the meat in a pan, diced the potatoes and carrots tiny to stretch the volume, threw in the onion, and let it simmer into a thick gravy. It wasn't luxury, but it was hot. It was deeply comforting, and it fed a family of 3 a real dinner for one single pound coin. But real life in the 90s wasn't just about cooking from scratch. It was about the convenience of the British high street after a freezing cold day at school or work. If you wanted something hot without turning on the stove, you went straight to the local bakery or the fish and chip shop. If you stepped into Greggs or a local independent bakery in 1995, a hot, freshly baked sausage roll cost a mere 35 pence. A single pound coin bought you a massive lunch. You could buy 2 flaky sausage rolls for 70 pence and use the remaining 30 pence to get a sugar-glazed iced bun for dessert. You ate it right out of the paper bag while walking down the pavement in the grey British rain, with change still rattling in your pocket. If you wanted the ultimate Friday night treat, a full cod and chip sat at around £1.68. Your single pound coin wouldn't clear the bill for the fish, but it could buy you a massive portion of chips. The fryer would scoop a heavy mountain of thick-cut chips into a sheet of old newspaper, douse it in cheap malt vinegar and salt, and hand it over for about 75 pence. It was enough food to completely fill an adult's stomach. Even global fast food chains had to bow to the physical reality of the British pocket. If you walked under the neon golden arches of McDonald's, a standard hamburger was priced at just 69 pence. For a single pound, you could hand over the coin, get your burger, and add a small white paper bag of hot, thin fries for another 30 pence. It was a complete fast food meal for one single piece of currency. For working adults, the pound wasn't just measured in food, it was measured in miles. In 1995, car ownership was exploding, and commuting was a daily reality for millions of Brits. But filling your tank didn't require a bank loan. A single litre of unleaded petrol cost almost exactly 53 pence. If you pulled your Ford Escort or Vauxhall Cavalier up to the petrol pump and watched the mechanical numbers spin, a single pound coin bought you nearly 2 full litres of fuel. 2 litres of petrol in a standard 90s hatchback gave you enough fuel to drive roughly 15 to 20 miles. A single coin could literally get you to work and back for 2 consecutive days. But if you ask anyone who was a child or a teenager in the 1990s, where the pound truly felt like ultimate wealth, they won't talk about petrol stations or butchers. They will look back at the bell chiming as they pushed open the door of a dusty local corner shop. To a kid in 1995, a £1 coin made you feel like a millionaire. The sweet counter was a colourful grid of cheap joy. A standard Cadbury Dairy Milk, a Mars bar, or a classic Twix cost right around 30 pence. A can of Panda Pop, the legendary hyper-coloured fizzy drink, cost exactly 20 pence. If a kid walked in with a pound, they could build a perfect triad of pure happiness. They bought one major chocolate bar for 30 pence, a can of green cream soda Panda Pop for 20 pence, and they still had a 50 pence piece sitting in their palm. They would hand that final 50 pence to the shopkeeper and point directly at the plastic jars lining the shelves. White mice, cola bottles, fried eggs, and blackjacks. At 1 penny each, that remaining change bought them exactly 50 individual sweets, scooped into a small, white paper bag. You walked out of the shop carrying a physical weight of sugar that would last an entire weekend, all bought with a single gold coin. But this incredible purchasing power wasn't a permanent state of reality. It was a fragile economic moment in time. So how did a sudden global shift at the very end of the decade turn this powerful gold coin into a total psychological trap for British shoppers? If this trip down memory lane brought back memories of your local corner shop sweet jars or the smell of a Friday night chip shop run, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment down below and tell me, what was the absolute best thing you used to buy with a single pound back in the 1990s? Let's get a massive conversation started down in the comments section, and I'll see you in the next video.